Narrative analysts, what's up? I'm Jax Riley, and we must discuss the WNBA's pivotal moment. Because Sophie Cunningham's viral story involved more than just a comrade standing up for a rookie. It was the total dismantling of the biggest falsehood in the league. And even now, basketball is still feeling the shockwaves. This is what the WNBA has been trying to sell us. That the way Caitlin Clark is being treated is just typical rookie hazing. That any allegation of deliberate targeting is just conspiracy theory crap, and that the aggressive play against her is ordinary welcome to the league stuff from ardent supporters. However, Sophie Cunningham completely destroyed that story. And she did it with names, receipts, and a brutal honesty that the league did not want to hear at all. This narrative has layers that go far deeper than what you saw on your timeline, so allow me to paint you a picture of what actually happened. Sophie Cunningham was exactly who you would expect prior to June 17, 2025. A strong role model with 200,000 TikTok followers and possibly 350,000 Instagram followers. In all honesty, most casual fans probably couldn't pick her out of a lineup despite her reputation for fierce defense and three-point shooting. She was merely another a WNBA player is working hard. However, then something occurred for which no one was ready. Sophie did more than simply commit a hard foul when she intervened to defend Caitlin Clark during that Connecticut Sun game. The entire house of cards the WNBA had been constructing around Clark's treatment came to light when she lighted a fire. And the surge, more than 1 million new followers in only 48 hours. Sales of jerseys were sold out. Colin Cow has a podcast partnership with Herd's Network. Whole conversion from role player to cultural phenomena. This is where things start to get interesting, though. The viral moment wasn't anticipated. It wasn't a well-thought-out PR ploy. That was Sophie being herself, as she herself stated combative, snarky nature, which indicates that her upcoming revelation was the result of months of genuine frustration. Since the official story and the real story are quite different, allow me to explain what actually transpired during the Connecticut Sun game. Caitlin Clark, the setup, had been severely damaged throughout the entire game. We are discussing a type of physical play that is, let's face it, uncommon when it comes to other stars in this league. Additionally, this wasn't limited to a single game.
We've seen the same pattern. Cheap shots, hard fouls, and what looks like a relentless physical.
We observed the same pattern game after game. Hard fouls, cheap shots, and what appears to be an ongoing physical assault on her. Clark was jabbed in the eye by JCS Sheldon. She was pushed to the ground by Marina Mabra. And although the referees did nothing, Clark was clearly unhappy, still in pain, and attempting to get through it all. It wasn't just another game when the Indiana Fever faced the Connecticut Sun. It was the time when the WNBA issue was made public. The situation erupted when Clark, clearly distressed and still in pain, shoved Sheldon away. At that moment, Sophie had what she described as last-second intrusive thoughts. Moment. Fuck it, she said after observing what was going on and the officials in action. It was her words, not mine. The outcome was a harsh foul that made waves in the basketball community. Sophie was dismissed, fined $900, and showed no concern for either.
Why?
Because, in her words, someone had to finally speak up and express what everyone was thinking.
Protects Caitlin Clark in that Connecticut Sun game, throws JC Sheldon to the floor. That's when she became a viral sensation.
In that Connecticut Sun game, she throws Jake Sheldon to the ground and shields Caitlin Clark. At that point, she went viral. This is the point at which Sophie's viral moment transcends the simple act of one teammate defending another. Because the WNBA's typical rookie treatment story was completely demolished by what she disclosed next. Let's move on to a topic that the league most clearly doesn't want us discussing. In that instance, Sophie did more than just stand up for Clark. She revealed something that had been taking place for months behind closed doors. Sophie claimed to be aware of discussions taking on in locker rooms throughout the league. She specifically addressed her former team, the Phoenix Mercury, and what she disclosed should infuriate every basketball fan.
You have seen players in our league try to toughen up Caitlin, we call her CC, no, we're going to prove her. We're going to show her what the W really is. Last second, intrusive thoughts. I was like, fuck it.
Yeah.
And I at first I just tried to like hold her and like put her, like grab her. Just let me explain. I know what it looked like. I got her, but at the very end, and I'm not saying this is what caused it, but she dipped a little bit.
Yeah.
Like but she did dip. And then right when I saw, I was like, oh shit, like my bad. Not really my bad. And then they both came out mouth.
You've witnessed athletes in our league attempt to toughen up. We like CC, Caitlin. We're going to prove her now. We will demonstrate the true meaning of the W to her. Take a moment to consider that. During a game, this wasn't trash talk. This conversation was not meant to be competitive. This was planned in a systematic manner. Sophie disclosed that teams were actually holding meetings to discuss ways to show Caitlin Clark the true meaning of the W and to humble her. However, please reiterate that this is just typical rookie hazing. Sophie was very clear about it. I am familiar with the locker room and the conversations in Phoenix. Like, we're going to prove her now. We will demonstrate to her what the W actually is. There's hostility in the air, she acknowledged. Systematic hostility stemming from jealousy. And you know what irritates me the most? The league was aware. They have to be aware. It's no longer speculation when a former player is prepared to testify about discussions in the locker room that were intended to target a particular player. That is proof. However, Sophie did more than just reveal the targeting. She attacked the biggest paradox in the WNBA head-on. At this point, her viral moment turns into a full-scale revolution. This is the truth that Sophie had everyone face. Clark, Caitlin, is in charge of 26.5% of the WNBA's revenue. She is expected to drive close to $1 billion in league value in 2025, $1 billion with AB. Are you aware of her salary? $78,766. Take a moment to consider that math. A gamer with $1 billion in worth is earning less than the average person spends on a good automobile. Meanwhile, the same clubs who profit from sold-out stadiums due to her name are hatching plans and locker rooms to defeat her. Sophie described it precisely. I simply detest that because as a league, this is what we have always desired. Who matters who gets the credit then? You're profiting off her if you're clever. Additionally, Sophie was impatient with anyone who attempted to downplay Clark's influence.
It pisses me off when people are like, she's not the face of the league.
Who would be?
What?
Sabrina? No.
No, there's really good, well-known people in our league. I'm not discrediting them. Like, we have a lot of badasses in our league.
Yeah.
Like, hell yeah to that. I'm all for that. But when people try to argue that she's not the face of our league, or if our league would be where we're at without her, you're dumb as shit.
It literally irritates me. She's not the league's face, they say. What would that be? No. Sabrina. Yes. No. In our league, there are some excellent, well-known individuals. I'm not. Yeah. I'm not disparaging them. Like, our league is full with badasses. She also didn't do it subtly. Everyone in the league is making money off of Caitlin's popularity, as Sophie said. The players, teams, media, and the WNBA. Silence, however, when it comes to genuinely defending her or publicly endorsing her. Or worse, they make fun of her. However, I detest that because it makes me wonder why we can't just be kind to each other. That query strikes a different when you understand her true question. Why are we ruining the person who is trying to save our sport? The plot of the referee. Sophie affirmed, I have something to clarify now. I'm not spreading outrageous conspiracy ideas when I discuss referee prejudice. As an active participant, Sophie Cunningham attested to the existence of these patterns. A totally different picture of how referees approach Caitlin Clark compared to other players in this league appears if you follow the digital breadcrumbs Sophie left us. Official sources won't tell you this.
Oh, the welcome to the league moments that rookies often face, and into this void that Sophie Cunningham has finally stepped, armed.
Sophie Cunningham has finally entered this void with the truth, and it goes beyond the typical welcome to the league moments that rookies encounter. Sophie explained it in words that Rhodey could understand.
Hold and push her long after the ball is gone. And they fight through screens with a physicality that often sends her to the floor, and a lot of time.
Long after the ball is in motion, opponents take hold of her and forcefully push her. Additionally, they engage in physical altercations through screens that frequently knock her to the ground. There isn't a whistle there for a long time. Here's what should infuriate every basketball fan, though. Sophie made a direct point about the double standard. I would be kicked out of games for the same contact that Clark receives without calls if that were anyone else. I have no leash at all. When comparing her own treatment to what she sees happening to Clark, Sophie remarked, I only have a collar and a hand on it. The tone of the online discussion indicates that what Sophie disclosed is not limited to a small number of games or officials. She described it as a buildup over the past few years of them simply failing to protect the WNBA top player. A few years. Consider that. This has existed even before Clark joined the league. Sophie has confirmed that the officials' practice of treating some players differently is systematic, the moment that conveys everything at last. However, you must hear what transpired in the locker room following that Connecticut game if you want to know why Sophie's viral moment is so important. Sophie revealed that upon returning to the Caitlin glanced at her in the locker room and uttered a single word. Finally. At last. Consider the meaning of that word. It indicates that Caitlin had been hoping, praying, and waiting for someone to ultimately defend her. It indicates that she had been waiting for her own teammates to support her while absorbing this abuse game after game. And Sophie's reply, I got you. As Sophie put it, I think that kind of had our squad come together as a whole. That interchange altered everything for the Indiana Fever. It was more than a single game or foul. It was about proving that they will at last defend their best player.
In an opponent's face when things get too physical with Clark, and she made it clear, if you mess with the rookie...
When things become too aggressive with Clark, she is the first to confront an opponent. She also made it very obvious that you have to go to her first if you tamper with the rookie. The league's silence says a lot. This is where the story really shines. All of this, the systematic targeting, the economic hypocrisy, the bias of the referees, and the locker room conspiracies, was made public after Sophie's viral moment. What actions did the WNBA take? They found her $900 and remained silent. The accusations of targeting were not looked into. Nothing about safeguarding elite athletes. The economic gap is not acknowledged. No talk about officiating standards. Explain that our fines are a joke, as Sophie chuckled. The league's leadership has been utterly silent. You can learn all you need to know about Sophie's veracity from that quiet. Because wouldn't the league be hurrying to defend itself if what Sophie said was untrue, if the targeting wasn't genuine, if the economic exploitation wasn't occurring, and if the bias of the referees was imaginary? They would be offering proof to refute her assertions, wouldn't they? Rather, we received nothing. This indicates that Sophie hit the target with such accuracy that they are unable to dispute it. But this is what makes the narrative so amazing. Sophie did more than merely reveal the lies of the WNBA. She initiated a radical cultural change that continues to this day. Her rise from 200K to over 1.6 million TikTok followers and over 1 million Instagram followers on social media was more than just viral success. It stood for something far more significant. Fans had a player who was willing to share what they had witnessed firsthand for the first time. The bodyguard, enforcer nicknames, memes, and fan tweaks. All of that occurred as a result of Sophie expressing the frustrations that the fan base had been harboring for months. However, more significantly, other players were forced to take sides after her viral moment. While some intensified their attacks, others began subtly offering assistance. Sophie demonstrated that you could speak the truth and not only survive but thrive, which completely changed the dynamic. Music, the sold-out jersey sales, the mainstream media coverage, and her podcast partnership with Colin Cowherd's network all demonstrated that genuine tales are far more appealing than fake ones. Check out Sophie Cunningham's viral moment. Exposed wasn't limited to a single individual or league. It's about what occurs when an industry attempts to undermine someone while making money off of them. Riding the Caitlin Clark wave, the WNBA has achieved unprecedented popular attention, sold-out arenas, and record viewership. The leadership of Indiana Fever even admits what they have.
The growth and the interest level in the franchise. I mean, this is about the Indiana Fever. Yes, we have a foundational player in Caitlin Clark and Leah Boston, and we're going to continue to add to that. But I want this team to be the leader.
Our goal is to maintain the franchise's growth and level of interest. This is about overcoming a fever, after all. Yes, Caitlin Clark is a key member of our team. I want this team to be the best in the nation, but instead of safeguarding and advancing their golden goose, they have permitted and occasionally fostered a culture of animosity and targeting, and the repercussions of that strategy should terrify every executive in that league. We are Boston, and we keep adding to that.
It's off this fan base and Caitlin Clark leaves, it's lights out. You're being warned by the...
It's lights out if you irritate this fan base and Caitlin Clark departs. The fan base is currently warning you. In actuality, the WNBA and the Indiana Fever were unaware of what they were getting themselves into when they selected Caitlin Clark, since they were unprepared for and did not anticipate her popularity, according to one expert. Sophie made everyone face a straightforward query. How long can you take advantage of someone's popularity while you're actively working to undermine them? And from what we've seen since her viral moment, the answer is short. Due to the fact that fans are intelligent, they are able to observe what is taking place. And the entire house of cards collapses when players like Sophie are prepared to validate their suspicions. What does this mean for us now? The viral moment for Sophie Cunningham wasn't a one-time event. It marked the start of a radical change in the way we discuss the WNBA, assess player care, and hold leagues responsible for safeguarding their stars. The nicest part is that Sophie isn't giving up. She is still speaking the truth on her podcast, exposing hypocrisy when she witnesses it, and developing a platform that is built on real voices rather than corporate spin. The tone of the online discussion indicates that an increasing number of players are preparing to speak. Accountability is being demanded by more fans. Tough questions are being asked by more members of the media. It wasn't just Sophie Cunningham who went viral. A revolution was initiated by her. That revolution is still ongoing. I have a question for you now. Are you prepared to participate in this discussion? Because Sophie's revelations on Caitlin Clark's treatment by the WNBA are only the beginning. There are more tales, more proof, and more truths that must be revealed. You must speak up if you support demanding better from the leagues we support, exposing hypocrisy, and defending athletes who are advancing the sport herd. If you support Sophie Cunningham and her pursuit of truth, please leave a comment. If you believe that more people should be aware of what actually transpired, please share this video. We will continue to delve into the tales that the sports industry doesn't want you to know, so please subscribe. These days, it's more than simply basketball. It's about honesty, responsibility, and ensuring that those that advance our sports receive the respect and safety they are due. Sophie Cunningham demonstrated for us what happens when one person chooses to speak up. It is now our responsibility to raise that voice and make better demands. How are you going to handle it?